This has been a seriously fucked up week, man. Jesus fuck. It started like any other week. Cis white male does a thing. Others outraged. And if you're not familiar with the Google memo, the Google manifesto, or whatever you want to call it, I'll see if I can link something in the description about it. And I thought to myself, it's not quite in my wheelhouse, but Google is important to Canada like it is to most of the world. So maybe it's worth talking about. And before I could even read the memo, James Damore was fired from Google for writing it. So naturally I assumed everything in it was factual and correct. But also I thought, apparently, I've been told by people I trust that yes, it was factual and correct and not at all anti-diversity. It was not a screed. But it sort of proved what he was talking about in terms of Google's an ideological bubble. So maybe that's worth talking about because that's sort of, again, not quite in my wheelhouse. And then, a whole bunch of YouTubers, some of whom I am a fan, have basically their entire channels demonetized. And I thought to myself, well, you know, I do the YouTubes. Maybe I should talk about that. It's been an unusually busy week for me, so I didn't get around to it. And then, Charlottesville. A bunch of white assholes go marching in the night with tiki torches in their golf shirts. You know, I'm not one of those self-hating white people. I'm not. If you've watched my videos, you know I'm not. But I look at these guys, and suddenly I understand the appeal. Like, oh, that's a good reason to be ashamed of being white, of being associated with assholes like this in any way. It's just a combination of the worst stereotypically white things. It's like, imagine a regular old black guy seeing footage of another black guy robbing a store of a watermelon and a bucket of chicken. Like, all you can do is, are you, why? You're ruining it for the rest of us. Just, no, I seriously understand sometimes why white people hate white people. So I don't have all the details of what happened the next day. I don't know who does. The next day is, as of this recording, yesterday, Saturday, August the 12th, 2017. Unite the Right rally had permits for their rally in Charlottesville, and the police decided to shut them down, technically illegally. Now, I don't know if the sons of bitches carrying the fucking swastikas were a threat to people, and this is a fucking parody. It's satire. If you don't get that, get the fuck out. I don't need you. I don't know if the Antifa protesters were a threat to people, and so they shut it down. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I don't know if anyone is. All I know is Richard Spencer got pepper sprayed. Not by police, as far as I know. Baked Alaska got pepper sprayed, and if you can trust anything you read on 4chan, and you shouldn't because it says so in the disclaimer, is in hospital with possibly permanent eye damage from being pepper sprayed repeatedly. All I know is the alt-right white nationalists, Unite the Right rally cleared right the fuck out of the whole city. And Antifa, Black Lives Matter, whoever the fuck else ridiculous left, took over the streets in an impromptu march without permits, chanting shit like, "Whose streets? Our streets." When somebody decided to drive their car through the fucking crowd, killing one, maybe two, injuring 19 to 20 more. And the first thought is, wow, that escalated quickly. Except suddenly, no, it's not. It's not a very quick escalation. It's a months long escalation that may or may not have started, and we're going to circle around to where it might have started, to Richard Spencer getting punched in the fucking face. He said things people don't like, and apparently, according to those people, words are violence, and so a violent response, a physically violent response, are justifiable actions against Richard Spencer. And a number of news outlets went ahead and condoned this shit. Milo had a talk at Berkeley, which was met with violence, ridiculous violence, setting fire to shit and pepper spraying young ladies in the face because their baseball cap was red, not even bothering to do the due diligence of reading her baseball cap, which did not say, "Make America Great Again," which is in and of itself not violent, not racist, not white supremacist, but her cap in fact said, "Make Bitcoin Great Again." And because she was there to listen to Milo Yiannopoulos, the gay Jew who's obviously a fucking Nazi /S, she deserved to be pepper sprayed. Let's not forget that liberals get the bullet too. So this is not a quick escalation. This is a months-long and logical progression of what the fuck has been happening. Right? Stupid people on one side, stupid people on the other, and they're violently against each other. And they're looking for any fucking excuse. So eager to harm another human being. It's so ridiculous. Let's see how ridiculous it is. It turns out that the young man, who's barely a man at 20 years old, in 2017, you're not a fucking adult till 30, apparently. No responsibility, no fucking accountability for your fucking self. The young man who drove his Dodge into the crowd, his mom's Jewish. I'm given to understand that if your mom's Jewish, you're Jewish. And I'm starting to wonder, did this guy give a shit who was in that crowd? Terrorist attack against a group of people. And you know what? I don't know he knew the difference or cared the difference between Antifa and the alt-right. Because for one side, Antifa, he's too white. And they're very clearly anti-white. And for the other side, he's not white enough. And they're very clearly anti-Semitic. And he was like, fuck all y'all, and just hit the gas into a crowd of people who all hate him. I don't condone this terrorist activity. But if you have a dark enough mind, like I do, you can really, really get into his head and think about how, for him, he might have been able to justify it. This violence, if you want to be a dick about it, and I'm totally willing to be that dick, can be tracked back at least 364 days to Milwaukee. Oh, it's after midnight. 1 year to the day that Black Lives Matter activists in Milwaukee were pulling white people out of their cars and beating the shit out of them for being white. But you can't be racist against white people, right? I have a friend who thinks that this is the fomenting of a civil war in the United States. And I don't necessarily think he's wrong. I just think he's misguided on the sides of the Civil War. You see, he thinks that it's Antifa versus alt-right. And I don't think that's the case. I think Antifa and alt-right are both identitarian, collectivist, authoritarians, making them one side of a possible civil war. The only thing on which they disagree is all white or anti-white. I do think they will be the catalyst that leads to some kind of true armed conflict. And when that happens, I don't doubt for a second that Donald Trump will be more than willing to send in the National Guard to mow them down. It'll be a civil war between these two idiots that want to fight each other and everybody else that wants them to stop. It'll last maybe 2 days, after which both Antifa and the alt-right will suffer massive, massive casualties. And on the third day, the survivors will all be grounded by their parents. Shortest civil war in the history of civil wars. Relevant links to shit I said in the description? Maybe. I'm Irving Twin. Like, subscribe, or don't. It's a free country. At least it used to be.